core inflation remains sticky. Should we be celebrating this latest November print?
I feel with food inflation coming down and specifically with vegetable prices inflation coming down so sharply, it should help in containing inflationary expectations, which would overall be good and it would help eventually, it would help the core inflation also to kind of come down from these levels. But having said that, core inflation has been found to be very sticky and it would be a challenge to get the core inflation down to more comfortable level.
What do these numbers mean as far as policy making is concerned from here on?
So I think for the policy makers, I think RBI has quite clearly indicated that they are going to go ahead depending on what kind of data points we see going forward. Um, I feel there's still chances of another 25 basis point hike in the next quarter, and I am basing this mainly on the fact that, as I mentioned earlier, the core inflation still remains high. Household inflationary expectations still remain high. So we will, while the food inflation has come down, RBI would also like to wait and watch and see if this is sustained over a longer period of time and if this also helps in some reduction in core inflation eventually. But the reduction in core inflation because of food inflation going down, all that, that kind of second round impact will take time to happen. So given the situation currently, I would still say there is a chance of another 25 basis point rate hike by RBI in Feb.
How would the RBI also interpret some of the industrial production data? Now, there is some bit of volatility that we see, and the month of October was also the month of Diwali, and therefore, how do you see that number?
So, yes, the industrial production data has come as a big negative surprise. While we were expecting this number to be lower simply because of high base of last year, but we were not expecting this kind of contraction. So that does come as a quite a disappointment.
In terms of inflation, and I'm just skipping back to that in the context of manufacturing production as well, are you now able to say with certainty, if I were to question you on whether inflation has peaked in India, the recent spurt that we saw, has that peaked now, and is therefore inflation being below the RBI comfort level at 5.88% really something that we should say is likely to continue?
So yes, we feel that inflation has uh, around the. So we were not expecting this sharper fall in inflation in the month of October. So there is a chance that going forward, because it has gone down because of seasonal impact of some of the food items like vegetable prices falling sharply. There are chances of it again, going up going forward, but not in a very sharp way. I would say inflation has broadly peaked, and we should see it moving around 6% or so. Statistically, we may get a little higher number going forward because if it's because of volatile component, we may see next month that increasing. But broadly, having said that, uh, broadly inflation has peaked, and we are likely to see it moving below 6% in the next few months. But even with that, the concern would remain because one, because like I mentioned, core inflation is still high. And second, as you would have seen, RBI governor in the last meeting was talking about the mid level of the range of 2 to 6%. So RBI is now looking at us eventually moving to around 4% level of inflation. And that is going to be quite challenging if core inflation remains sticky around these levels. So, as per our estimates, we do not see it touching 4%, inflation touching 4% even in FY24. So, if I look at whole of FY24, also we are expecting inflation, average inflation in the range of 5 to 5.5%. So to achieve RBI's target of 4% inflation would still be a challenge, but getting it below 6%, we are there, I would say.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.